Welcome to the JP8 Report. This is James Pierce with the JP8 Report, episode 296. Good afternoon, everybody. Boy, I tell you what, that was close. I was talking to one of my daughters and my wife, and I looked at my watch, and it was 11:59, and I ran in there. I am so good I got to the studio now that I don't have to worry about putting up a green screen and anything. So I went in there, sat down, and went straight to work. That was cool. Well, welcome to the JP8 Report. There's a few things we're going to go over today. One of them is a really good X post by Bongino himself, which is exactly how I feel. So before we get started, if you are not a follower of the JP8 Report, please click that follow button. And then right next to it is that thumbs up button for like. Please like us and share us. We stream, I stream only on Rumble. That's my headquarters. That's all I do, but I simulcast out through Facebook, X, and SCOTUS. All right. Today is going to be busy because after I do my Rumble Premium, I'm going to record a podcast. I'm going to interview a congressional candidate for Congressional District 31 here in Texas. His name is Elvis Lossa, Lossa, and combat veteran, artilleryman. But he's going to come over my house in about an hour and a half, and we're going to sit down and do an interview. And I've opened it up to other candidates, congressional and county, here in Coryell County and anywhere else in the area. If y'all want me to interview you, we can talk and get it scheduled. And when I publish them on Rumble, I will put them on as a special, not as a countdown like episode like this is 296. It won't be 297, 298, 299, 300. I don't know yet. I may let me trap that one down, okay? But so I should do that anyway. But thank you very much for tuning in today. It's gonna be busy, like I said. So America 250. America 250 for the 9th and 10th of January, 1776. I talked about this morning on the 6:30 podcast. So there's like a debate on whether Common Sense was published on the 9th of January or the 10th of January, because I looked at this for hours and I keep seeing both dates. So I correlate it to both dates, but I really do think it's the 10th of January. All right. But it was published anonymously it was written anonymously by Thomas Paine in 1776. It was 47 pages long. He wrote it in Philadelphia. The working title of it was called The Plain Truth. In the first 3 months, so it'd be February, March, April, by the middle of April, it had sold 120,000 copies. And within the first year, it was 500,000 copies. But they said that was in the colonies and in Europe and in Asia. So it spread like wildfire. So Thomas Paine's book could have possibly sparked several other revolutions around the world too. The publisher of the book was Robert Bell, just so you know. All right. So like I said, I've been reading Common Sense in the premium session. Good afternoon, Rob. And then, but for the JP8 Report before premium, I'm just going to read the introduction. So if y'all want to go and listen to it being read after we go to premium, you just need to be a premium member, okay? And we'll do that in just a minute. Introduction for Common Sense. Perhaps the sentiments contained in the following pages are not yet sufficiently fashionable to procure them general favor. A long habit of not thinking a thing wrong gives it superficial appearance of being right, and raises at first a formidable outcry in defense of custom. But the tumult soon subsides. Time makes more converts than reason. As long as violent abuse of power is generally the means of calling the right of it in question, and in matters to which might never have been thought of, had not the sufferers been aggravated into the inquiry, and as the King of England hath undertaken in his own right to support the Parliament in what he calls theirs, and as the good people of this country are grievously oppressed by the combination, they have an undoubted privilege to inquire on the pretensions of both, and equal to reject usurpation of either. As the following sheets, the author has studiously avoided everything to which is personal among ourselves. Compliments as well as censure to individuals make no part thereof. The wise and the worthy need not the triumph of the pamphlet, and those whose sentiments are injudicious and unfriendly will cease of themselves unless too much pains is bestowed upon their conversions. The cause of America is in a great measure the cause of all mankind. Many circumstances have and will arise which are not local but universal, and through which the principles of all lovers of mankind are affected, and in the event of which their affections are interested, the laying of a country desolate with fire and sword, declaring war against the natural right of all mankind, and expurgating the defenders thereof from the face of the earth, is the concern of every man to whom nature hath given the power of feeling, of which class, regardless of party, censure is the author. And then he has a postscript, a P.S. The publication of this new edition hath been delayed, with the view of taking notice, had it been necessary, of any attempt to refute the doctrine of independence. As no answer hath yet appeared, it is now presumed that none will. The time needful for getting such a performance ready for the public being considerably past. Who the author of this production is wholly unnecessary to the public, and the object for attention is the doctrine itself, not the man. Yet it may not be necessary to say that he is unconnected with any party and under no sort of influence, public or private, but in the influence of reason and principle. Signed in Philadelphia, February 14th, 1776. All right. So that is the introduction to Common Sense, and I'll be reading more of it. We're in the second section right now. Need to talk about my guys over at the Dalmatian Texas Burgers. They do smash burgers and dogs right here in Copper's Cove. They all their ingredients are homemade and fresh. They're open Tuesday through Saturday for dinner from 5:30 to 7, and then Monday through Saturday for lunch from 11 to 2. And they're located in the western side of Copper's Cove by Bush's Chicken, behind it in the back of the shopping center. Go give them a try when you get a chance. All right. So we are now into the JP8 report. Hold on just a second here. And I'm going to read this ad real quick for everybody. Oh, okay, there we go. You've probably noticed Rumble is growing fast and it's not slowing down. They're building a real alternative to big tech that puts creators first and actually protects free speech. And now there's Rumble Premium, an easy way to upgrade your experience. With Premium, you get ad-free viewing across the platform. No pre-rolls, no interruptions, just the content you came for. Plus, Premium members unlock the exclusive content like bonus videos, behind-the-scenes drops, and the more of your favorite creators. Right now, Rumble is offering $10 off an annual subscription. Just go to rumble.com/premium and use the promo code STUDIO at checkout. That's rumble.com/premium, promo code STUDIO. No ads, more freedom, and content is you actually care about. That's the deal. All right. Thank you for letting me read that to y'all. All right. So the morning job report came out. Well, the monthly jobs report came out today. And it shows that 50,000 jobs were created in the U.S. in the month of December. The unemployment rate actually dropped from 4.6 to 4.4%. They were expecting 60,000 created jobs, and they were expecting the unemployment rate to be at 4.5. So we beat expectations on the unemployment rate, but we didn't create as many jobs as they want us to. And it's like 50,000 jobs, 50 states, that's like 1,000 jobs per state. So if they expected another 10,000, that's like 10 more jobs per state, I believe, or 20 more jobs. So we were really, really, really close. All right. In FoxNews.com, the U.S. economy saw modest job growth in December as employers hired at a steady pace amid economic uncertainty. The Labor Department on Friday reported that employers added 50,000 jobs in December. The figure was cooler than the expectations of economists polled by LSEG. If you know what LSEG is, please chat it, because I would like to know what it means. The unemployment, they were expecting 60,000 jobs. The unemployment rate declined slightly to 4.4%. The reading was lower than the expectations of 4.5. The decline comes after unemployment rate was initially reported as rising to 4.6% in November, which was the highest since September 2021, though it was revised to 4.5 after the BLS made a routine population adjustment in the latest report. All right. And then taken together, employment in October and November was 76,000 jobs lower than previously reported. And then private payrolls added 37,000 in December, below the LSEG estimate of 64%. The 64,000 jobs. And the government payroll actually grew by 13,000 jobs in December. I thought we had a federal hiring freeze. I guess we didn't. With gains in local government, 18,000, and federal government, 2,000, partially offset by a decline in state employment, minus 7,000. You know what? It does make sense. My daughter is, her husband's being PCS to Fort Campbell, and she did get an EMS job on post. So I guess she's going to be one of those jobs. Okay, that's good. Hey, Rob, if you're still on and you're being my hall monitor, I guess, hey, if you could look up what LSEG is and then text it on the chat, that'd be cool, okay? Put that there. All right. So the next thing I want to talk about is Dan Bongino. He put an X out late last night, and I'm going to read it. I'm going to let everybody see it because I don't know if everybody does X. But yes, gatekeeping is absolutely going to happen. There isn't a business, sports teams, or organization on earth that would do otherwise if they wanted to succeed. You don't allow cancers into your clubhouse and then plan to win baseball games. You waive them, trade them, or release them. Libs and enemies of our country understand this. They have found a path to fracture our movement from the inside, but only if we cower from it. If I will always relish the year of my life serving you all in this incredible administration, but I'm back now. And this mission is equally important. We built this movement. It's ours. And now we're going to take it back. That is absolutely an amazing thing to say, because I can't wait. Because I'm tired of these rhinos and these grifters out there doing this. And I want to read one more thing. I saw the X right below it. It says today is January 9, 2026, and Donald J. Trump is the President of the United States of America. Take that. Huh. That was awesome. You know, there are a lot of disruptors out there. They got people out there that like the lady with the initials CO and the guy with the initials NF that I won't talk about because I hate their guts. Not hate, hate's such a bad word, but I dislike very much their politics and their business schemes of grifting millions of dollars away from hard-working Americans. Me, myself, I do this podcast. I'm doing it every day now, but I don't get paid for it. I've never made any money on the JP8 report at all. I live on my Army retirement and I live on my VA disability. That's all. And but there are people out there that do a whole lot more than just that. And they talk bad about each other. They scheme. The moment it gets a little hard out there in politics, they bail. They turn the afterburners on and they get out. They won't stay and run. They're like Stephen Crane's Red Badge of Courage. They get out there and they see everybody else doing great things, and they fake an injury so they get that red badge on them, make it look like they did something brave, and they really weren't, because they're the first people to scam out when the going gets tough. All right. So Rob, he texted in a while ago. The London Stock Exchange Group is what the LSEG means. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. But, you know, we got the GOAT coming back in early February, right? So I can't wait. And we are going to clamp down on the type of people that are influencing the average Joe that's out there listening. I really want this to succeed. He's going to drive so many people back to Rumble because he is there, that our numbers are going to flood. All right. And not just from him, but for most of the conservatives out there. We're going to see a rise in the people listening to our podcast, which is awesome. Now, to go along with that, we all know he's coming back. We know about approximately when he's coming back and how long he's going to be on from the other night when he was on Haley Carnia, right? So I was watching Vince today, and he added a little more to the puzzle, right? He told everybody that if you are not already a follower on the Bongino Report channel, on Rumble, go over there and follow it. Now, if you are listening to me and you don't know what the Bongino Report channel is, look it up. It says Bongino, Bongino Report, right? And that is the channel that Haley Carania does her podcast on Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern. So, and then he put like 2 and 2 together. He said, don't tell no one, but make sure that you're on there, because he said Dan is going to take his channel that he's broadcasted on, because it was Dan's channel in the first place. But it looks like he's going to go over to the Bongino Report, which is awesome. There's nothing wrong with the Bongino Report, because Evita was on there in the early morning before Dan went live on his show, right? So it looks like that's the transition. But Vince said, stay tuned for Monday morning and everything will be explained. So we are all standing till Monday morning. I will definitely be there. Bells on my toes. Definitely. Okay, let me punch these out. All right. So the next thing, we are in Minnesota. All right. Minnesota. We all heard about what happened with the Hilton in Minnesota, where they were, it was the Hampton Inn was the actual name of the hotel, where you had clerks refusing to give rooms out to anyone in Homeland Security, right? ICE and CBE and FBI and all these people that were they were staying in a Hampton Inn, right? And they said that they were actually fixed, and these agents to be able to get rooms there again. And then Rick Secor, I think that's his name, Nick Secor or Rick Secor. He actually went in and did undercover video, and the kid gave it up, where it said, nope, you can't stay here because you're ICE, Immigration Customs Enforcement, right? And then Hilton found out about it, and by the next morning, they had ripped the franchise agreement out from underneath that franchise owner, and they had the change. And I saw a video yesterday. They had already got a crane out there to take the Hampton Inn sign down. They wasn't playing no games. And then also it came out at a McDonald's in Minneapolis. They did the same thing, but McDonald's Corporation jumped really hard and got it fixed before it got out of control. This came from Fox News on the little live section. McDonald's removed a sign at a franchise Minneapolis restaurant that barred law enforcement and immigration agents after Fox documented the posting. Fox News confirmed. The Daily Wire posted a video to X showing a sign on the front door of McDonald's which threatened legal action if agents entered without a valid judicial warrant. The reporter in the video spoke to a security guard in front of the restaurant who said the sign was up because it is private property, explaining that the store has the right to refuse service. At the end of the day, this is private property. You can't just break the law because you're a federal agent, the security guard said. A security guard saying that? That's crazy. It's like coming into your house or coming into any other restaurant. There's rules. Still, McDonald's told Fox News that the store is a franchise location, and the owner-operator is reiterating expectations with their restaurant team regarding appropriate signage. We're in touch with the owner-operator of this franchise restaurant and have confirmed that the flyer was posted without approval and has since been taken down, McDonald's USA said. All right. Wow. No shoes, no shirt, with a badge, no service. This is ridiculous, right? I had a friend of mine ask me, are we actually getting close to a civil war? You know what? We might be. We might be at the threshold of gnashing of teeth in our country again, because we got these stupid liberals. They keep doing things, and eventually it's going to set somebody off. We don't need that. We need to keep cool heads and be collective of what we're doing. All right. So next on here is in Portland yesterday. 2 people were shot. They didn't die, but they were wounded. They fled the scene, and then they called 911 because one was shot I think he was shot in the leg or the arm, and his girlfriend was shot in the chest. And she was a human trafficker, and he was a TDA member. That was Trinity Argoa, the Venezuelan gang person. Yeah, it happened at 2:19 local time, which would be 5:15 Eastern, okay? Because this happened in Portland, Oregon. I took this from Fox News also. The Department of Homeland Security said a Border Patrol agent, that'd be Customs and Border Enforcement, agent fired a defensive shot during a targeted vehicle stop in Portland, Oregon, after the driver linked to the Venezuelan gang Trinidad Argoa allegedly tried to run over federal agents. 2 people were wounded in the shooting, according to the FBI. According to the Department of Homeland Security, agents attempted to stop at about 2:19 local time, targeting a passenger described as a Venezuelan illegal alien affiliated with the trans TDA prostitution ring and tied to a recent shooting in Portland. He was already a criminal. DHS said the driver, who is also believed a member of TDA, weaponized his vehicle when agents identified themselves and attempted to strike law enforcement officers. Fearing for his life and safety, an agent fired a defensive shot and said that adding that the driver fled the scene with the passenger still in the vehicle, and it said it remains under investigation. And they did identify them. I didn't print it out. I don't think it's worth it, but they were both illegal aliens. One was a trafficker, and one was had child crimes. All right, but they're in custody, and they're going to go back to Venezuela. All right, so we got that one done. I heard this morning some disheartening news from out in space that Crew 11 on the International Space Station, they're going to be coming home early because one of the astronauts has a medical condition. I did talk about this a little bit this morning. I love astronomy. I love space. This is serious because I don't think they've ever brought someone home for health reasons before. But yeah, it looks like Crew 11 is going to come home like next week. And so this guy or girl, whoever is on there, can be taken care of. They wouldn't identify him because they said it was, HIPAA information, and they couldn't disclose it. All right. Let's see. Okay, so also there's no SCOTUS ruling today on tariffs or on the Voters' Rights Act. They were at least waiting for word on the tariffs, but the Supreme Court made the rulings today, and they were not part of anything. All right, so wait on pins and needles over the weekend, and I think the Supreme Court does rulings on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I don't know where Friday came from, but Tuesdays and Thursdays, I believe, is the only time that they actually publish rulings. All right. Iran cut the internet to the whole nation of Iran, and that looks really rough. And there's rumors that the Ayatollah Khomeini is not even in the country of Iran anymore because he's fearing for his safety. I'll believe that when I see it. Let's get a proof of life video from Moscow or something. All right. All right. So next, we got that one taken care of. We got that one taken care of. All right. So I got this next one. Oh, yeah. This is a fun one. Not that one. So in Texas, if you have been paying attention to what's been going on in Texas before Trump became president again, we decided we wanted to put huge balloons in the Rio Grande River. So I'm talking about those orange buoys, right? Look how long that is. And there's no way you're going to be able to swim under it and then make it to the other side. There's no physical way, right? Isn't that beautiful? That's Mexico. This is Texas, okay? We don't go over here. That looks like some type of orchard. Oh, that's cool. All right, so back to me. All right, so in the Texas scorecard, written by Sidney Henry, Department of Homeland Security is rolling out additional buoy barriers in the Rio Grande, expanding the Texas floating wall strategy to deter illegal crossings and cartel activity along the southern border. The modular buoy lines are part of the President Donald Trump's smart wall approach, combining physical barriers, technology, and patrols to make it harder and more dangerous for smugglers and illegal aliens to cross. All right. According to DHS, the system uses large cylindrical floating buoys linked together to form a continuous waterborne obstacle in key crossing corridors of the Rio Grande. Officials say about 130 miles of these barriers are already under contract and in the process of being installed, with plans to eventually cover roughly 500 miles of the river as part of the broader federal border security build-out. During a visit to the border on Wednesday, DHS Secretary Kristi Noem described the buoys as a water barrier designed to push illegal traffic away from the river crossings and toward lawful ports of entry, where agents can better control who comes into the country. The project builds directly on Texas's own 1,000-foot buoy line in Eagle Pass, first installed by Greg Abbott in 2023, and later expanded after Trump returned to the White House as a field-tested model of discouraging illegal crossings. Officials say they are coordinating with the U.S. International Boundary and Water Commission in the state of Texas to ensure the barrier is placed within U.S. territory, installed in a way that complies with international water management requirements. That's smart. The project is being funded with previously appropriated federal border wall money that has gone unused under the Biden administration, rather than requiring new congressional approval. The buoy strategy has already faced legal and diplomatic challenges with the Mexican government and left-wing activists. There's too many left-wing activists arguing the floating barriers endanger illegal crossers and may violate treaty obligations on use of the Rio Grande. Under Biden, and the Department of Justice sued Texas over the Eagle Pass buoys, but the U.S. Fifth Court of Circuit of Appeals has allowed the state barrier to remain in place while litigation continues. And it says, for now, DHS says work is focused on high traffic sections of the Rio Grande, including areas near the Rio Grande Valley, where illegal crossing and cartel smuggling have historically been heavy until last year. Local officials and landowners along the river are being briefed as segments are designed and installed, and DHS has indicated that further waivers of environmental regulations may be issued to speed construction. With the Trump administration now backing and funding a large-scale buoy system of its own, Texas's Eagle Pass experiment has effectively become a template for a new federal smart wall in the water. And that's from Sidney Henry from the Texas Scorecard. All right. We tried so hard over the course of 4 years under Biden to protect our state by all means possible, because we were not getting any support from the federal government and we were overran. And now we have a president that looks up to us and takes care of us, and pretty much completely stopped the flow of illegal aliens into our country. This is just going to help out that much more and protect us, all right? So we don't need the wrong people coming into our state, even though we can handle it. All right, so I got that done. That was actually pretty cool. Let's see here. How long have I been on? I've been on 37 minutes. Wow. Well, don't forget to like the podcast and follow it if you're not already a follower. All right. Man, I got a smudge in my glasses. That's crazy. I can only see out of one eye. All right. So we have next is the Republican senators were at the border. All right. And then they were doing their kickoff campaign for re-election in 2026, aiming not to hold but expand their 53-47 majority in November's midterm elections. Top Senate Republicans are showcasing the plummeting rates at the border crossings during a stop Friday at the nation's southern border with Mexico. And the group led by Senate Majority Leader John Thune is also highlighting how President Trump and Republican lawmakers are putting more money in Americans' pockets. The Stop at the Border, hosted by One Nation, a nonprofit group outside groups closely aligned with Thune, is seen as an unofficial kickoff by Senate Republicans ahead of the midterms by touting the sweeping One Big Beautiful Bill Act, Trump's signature domestic achievement last year that passed nearly entirely along party lines in the GOP-controlled Congress. That's why we need to maintain a majority in each branch of the Congress, each house of the Congress. At the event at the border, which was a regular stop for Republicans amid the surge in border crossings during then President Otto Penn's administration, the GOP senators are teaming up with members of the National Border Patrol Council, and they are highlighting how the passage of the domestic policy measures secured transformational border security funding, according to One Nation. And when I say President Otto Penn, that's me saying that. In the article it said President Joe Biden. All right. And then, but with Democrats enjoying decisive, non-decisive victories and over performances in the 2025 elections and a slew of special elections, you know what? I don't know what they're talking about in here. Who wrote this? Paul Stenhauser. I have no idea who that is with Fox, but he doesn't know what he's talking about. Oh, here's a paragraph from about John Cornyn. There are also Senator John Cornyn, who faces a bruising GOP primary showdown in March against challengers Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton and Representative Wesley Hunt and Representative John Husted of Ohio, Ashley Moody of Florida, were appointed last year to face voters in November. And John Cornyn yesterday, he was on the Will Kane show, I believe, or he was on Martha McCallum's show, This Story. He was so pessimistic in his talking about the upcoming midterms. It sounded like he was fighting for the other side. And, got Paxton and Hunt out there, all optimistic about the chances of them getting the seat and stuff. And Cornyn is like, well, I got President Trump backing me, so I'm good to go. But we may win the midterms. You can't talk like that. You got to be optimistic, and you got to go down fighting. You can't be crying in your milk or your soup because you didn't really get your way. That's why it's important. Like one of the questions I'm going to ask, hold on. White House believed MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene, may have tipped off Code Pink ahead of D.C. Trump confrontation. See, loose lips sink ships. This is one of the things like Bongino was talking about on his X post about, fakers and troublemakers and stuff, right? They're out there, and we got to get rid of them. We don't need people that think they're friends with Trump and the MAGA movement and are not really make America great again people. All right? We got really big naysayers out there that want to have nothing to do but make that money right there. Ask Marjorie Taylor Greene why she decided to retire on the 5th of January and not the 4th of January, because it's all about the Benjamins, right? All about the Benjamins. You don't want me to read another one? I can do that. Let's do another one. We'll start this one, right? Okay. It's been like 25 minutes. Let's see. Looking for a comfortable but unique option for your gaming setup, because there's a lot of people out there at games, right? Check out technisportusa.com. It's technisportusa.com, with a wide range of ergonomic chairs and an array of colors. You will definitely bring your setup to your next level. Always comfy, never boring. Technisport. Use the code RUMBLE for 10% off your entire order. I'll spell it one more time because I'm going to build a slide with them on it because I think this is cool. But it's technisportusa.com. And when you check out, you put Rumble in there, all caps, and you get 10% off. All right? All right. So, meanwhile, back at the ranch. All right. So, I got that one done. Where are we sitting at? We're at 44 minutes. We're doing good. Hey, did anyone catch that football game last night? The Miami Hurricanes beat the Rebels of Ole Miss at the very last second of the game. Oh, there was a couple of seconds left. 31-27 with the final score. And the Miami Hurricanes are actually going to have a home game because the NCAA championship is going to be played on the 19th of January, I believe, in Miami. And the Miami Hurricanes are going to be in there. And I believe tonight the Oregon Ducks are going to be playing the Indiana Hoosiers for the second team that's going to be playing in there, right? But yeah, last night Miami beat Ole Miss 31-27. All right. When I was watching the Fox News this morning, Griff Jenkins was so happy on there because, well, his daughter, check this out. I'm talking about a house divided. His daughter goes to Miami and he graduated from Ole Miss. Can't get no better than that, right? Let me get a drink here. I really hope everyone's doing good today. Let's see. I don't want to really read about her. Okay, I'm going to read this. And I just printed it off. And I really didn't take a look at it too much. But you keep hearing people say that the president should be using the Insurrection Act. And you're like, what is the Insurrection Act? Well, the Insurrection Act goes all the way back to President Washington when he used it in the Whiskey Rebellion, right? This was an article that was written in the USA Today. President Donald Trump, and it was written on the 12th of October. Wow. Okay. President Donald Trump says he'd consider invoking the Insurrection Act of 1807 to fight crime and battle protesters in the Democrat-controlled cities. I'd do it if it was necessary, if courts blocked his deployment of National Guard troops. Trump, and we know he's already pulled back National Guard troops. Trump also told reporters in Oval Office on October 6th, so far it hasn't been necessary, but we have an Insurrection Act for a reason. If I had to enact it, I would do that. But it's been invoked before, Trump told reporters a day later, we want safe cities. And Vice President J.D. Vance on October 12th said Trump was not opposed to invoking the act. And then, the Insurrection Act, check this out. The Insurrection Act or its predecessors have been invoked 30 times in American history since George Washington suppressed the Whiskey Rebellion in 1794. The last time it was used was George H.W. Bush's defense of Los Angeles during the 1992 Rodney King riots. The law gives the president the power to deploy U.S. armed forces to suppress rebellions and civil unrest or when federal laws are being obstructed. Presidents have rarely deployed troops domestically against the wishes of state and local leaders, even though they have the authority to do so. When presidents have used that power against the wishes of state or local officials, it was in response to those officials not enforcing Supreme Court decisions and federal laws, or failing to quell an insurrection against the government. The last time presidents invoked it against the wishes of state leaders was to suppress the violent, massive resistance to civil rights in the 1950s and 1960s. Presidential historian Matt Dallek told USA Today, presidents have the duty under Article 2, that's that thing called the United States Constitution, to take care of the laws that are faithfully executed. Claire Finkelstein at University of Pennsylvania Law School professor noted, since America became a multiracial democracy in the mid-60s, Dallek said the Insurrection Act has only been used once under extraordinary circumstances and at the governor of California's request to quell the riots in Los Angeles in 1992. Trump threatened to invoke the act during his first term in 2020, but pulled back when Secretary of Defense Mark Esper publicly opposed the move. In this term, Trump has invoked other statutes to deploy the National Guard and even the U.S. military to states such as California and Illinois against the wishes of their governors. The White House did not respond to a request for comment. Now, here are some notable uses of the Insurrection Act, usually to quell rebellions or in cases where local state authorities are unable or unwilling to maintain order and uphold the Constitution. Okay, guys. So this goes back 220 years or something like that. The Whiskey Rebellion, 1794. While this was before the Insurrection Act existed and helped lead to its creation, President Washington invoked the Militias Act of 1792 to put down an armed uprising in western Pennsylvania where farmers were rebelling against a federal whiskey tax. Washington is said to personally lead more than 10,000 militia troops in what is believed to be the first and only time a sitting president was commanded troops in the field. That's pretty cool. The federal response squashed the rebellion without significant bloodshed and was seen as an important precedent in how the federal government could and would use the military if needed on U.S. soil to enforce its laws. And in 1807 is when the Insurrection Act was actually passed in Congress. 1807, that would be Thomas Jefferson, I believe. Yep, I'm right. President Thomas Jefferson signed the Insurrection Act into law after Congress formalized the principle established by Washington 15 years prior. It authorized presidents to use the U.S. military and Army and Navy at the time to suppress insurrections, rebellions, and enforce federal law when and where it was being obstructed. Oh, and I'll read this one paragraph. Specifically, the Insurrection Act allowed the president to act unilaterally to federalize the militia of any state and to use the armed forces and to deploy them in response to requests by governors and state legislators. Let's see. Insurrection Act that's how we did it, okay. In the Civil War, it was enacted by President Lincoln, all right. And in 1871 to 1876, it was used to fight the Ku Klux Klan in the South. It says in October 17th, 1871, Grant sent federal troops into South Carolina to suppress the Ku Klux Klan violence using the new Ku Klux Klan Act of 1871, which allowed him to suspend habeas corpus to fight the domestic terror organization. Grant's troops arrested hundreds of Klansmen, effectively disbanding the organization. He later intervened in Louisiana, Arkansas, and then South Carolina in the run-up to the 1876 election to quell violence by white supremacist paramilitary groups known as rifle clubs. Now, that's a good thing, you know. So let's take that in context. All right. So let's put Trump sent federal troops into Illinois and in Oregon and in Minnesota to suppress Antifa related violence using this the 1807 Insurrection Act, which allowed him to suspend habeas corpus to fight the domestic terror organization. And then let's put Trump's troops arrested hundreds of Antifa and antagonists, effectively dismantling the organization. And later he intervened in other states. You know what? That makes perfect sense. If you just put Grant's name out and put Trump's name in and then activated the Insurrection Act, what the KKK was doing is the same thing as what Antifa is doing these days, because they were like pretty much decentralized anyway, because nobody wanted to know who they were. That is a really, really good 232 years ago. I feel old. All right, thanks, Rob. How do y'all think about my analogy right there with the KKK and Antifa? Because it makes sense to me. And then it was used again in the Civil Rights era in 1957 to 1968 by Presidents Dwight Eisenhower, John Kennedy, and Lyndon Baines Johnson. And the last time the Insurrection Act was used was in the Los Angeles riots in 1992 by George H.W. Bush, right? My ex-brother-in-law was in the 7th Infantry Division, and he got sent to the outskirts of Los Angeles. They never put them in the city because everything ended before they actually needed. But, you know, he was the infantryman back there, and they were ready to go to stop all this madness from happening. There were 53 people killed in those riots, and 2,380 people injured, and 12,000 people were arrested. They said it was the most destructive period of local unrest in U.S. history. So, you know what? There's precedent for using the Insurrection Act. And it's not me, and it's not you. You know, it's up to the president and his staff if it's got bad enough before you do something. I mean, that's what Dan Bongino used to say. Is it bad enough yet? Is it bad enough? Because that's what we should actually think about and consider, because we are at the cusp of something bad happening in our country, and we need to let the cool heads prevail over what's going on. We cannot let anarchy and anti-government forces run roughshod against our country and destroy it. We have most conservative groups will just, hey, it'll get better, it'll be all right, and they refuse to stand up for what they believe in. And you got these leftist people, like this girl Renee Nicole Good, that she was one of those leftist people, and her whole goal in life was to tell people where ICE was. They were one of the whistleblower type people, right? All right, so where are we at? We're at 59 minutes. So we're almost done for the free part of the show. I'm about to go over to read a little bit of the common sense. Hopefully, I got some people that are listening that are actually premium members, right? So we're gonna have some fun. All right, so I'm gonna show you my socials. You can find me on X at James Pierce Jr., on Facebook at James A. Pierce Jr. You can find me on YouTube at the JP8 Report 67, and you can find me on Truth at James A. Pierce, and there's my email address, jp8report@gmail.com. All right? I'm going to have to explain to people what JP8 means. And it's not the fuel, but it's sort of like it, right? So for all y'all that's not going to transfer over to premium with me, I will catch you on the flip side. I will see y'all Monday. I got some stuff I got to do. I got 2 VA appointments on this week, right? This next week. So I might have to do some time changes a little bit, but we can make that happen, right? So I'm going to go back up to my social slides, and I want to sign off on just the non-premium side, okay? So this is James Pierce with the JP8 report. I'll catch all non-premium members on the flip side until y'all become premium members, and I'm out for them. Give me a second here. Stop recording. Okay, I'm going premium. Give me a second here.